Welcome to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show, where we discuss all things political, bringing you the top stories locally, nationally, and from around the world. I'm Ruben Abati, and Thisdaylive begins now. Coming up in the next hour, Edo Elections 2020, Godwin Obaseki re-elected for his second term in office as INEC declares him winner of Edo Election. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice in the United States and the demure firebrand who are in her 80s, became a legal, cultural, and feminist icon, has died aged 87. I'd like to welcome today's panelists. Professor BOLA AKINTERINWA, Director General, Bolytag Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and CHIKE OGEAH, former Commissioner for Information, Delta State. After weeks of campaigns, the people of Edo State trooped out to elect a governor that will govern the state for the next 4 years. 14 political parties had their candidates represented in the election, but the contest was a straight fight between incumbent Governor Godwin Obaseki of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and Osagie Ize-Iyamu of the All Progressives Congress, APC. For most of yesterday, tension remained very high across the state, with voters bitterly divided between the two leading candidates. Now, after a hectic 24 hours of voting and counting of votes in the Edo State gubernatorial election, Governor Godwin Obaseki has been declared winner and re-elected for a second term in office. Some say it was a hard-fought battle which saw friendships made and emotions fled. And to many on the streets of Edo State, it was a victory for democracy. INEC declared Obaseki's victory with PDP polling 307,955 votes, while the APC had a total of 223,619 votes.
Osagie Ize-Iyamu of APC have 223,619 votes. Godwin N. Obaseki of the PDP had 307,955. 307,955. That Godwin N. Obaseki of PDP, having satisfied the requirement of the law in meeting the 25% in 2/3 of the local government area in the state, and having a margin of lead higher than the council votes, is hereby declared the winner and returned elected. Signed by my very self. Today, 20 September 2020. Thank you, gentlemen of the bench.
We'll be joined later by OFEIMUN, veteran journalist, poet, former chairman of the editorial board of the news, former private secretary also to late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, to help us analyze the situation in Edo State. But for now, I'll start with Professor AKINTERINWA and CHIKE OGEAH here in the studio. Well, gentlemen, we've been following the situation in Edo State, and Governor Godwin Obaseki, against all predictions by pundits, and let's also say against all odds, given the serious opposition that came his way from his former party, the All Progressives Congress, has now won the election with a margin of 84,336 votes, and with a majority in 13 local government areas, and with the PDP candidate, the APC candidate, Osagie Ize-Iyamu, taking the lead in just about 5 local government areas. Well, what is the significance of this? It will be the second governor to win an election within 4 years on 2 different platforms, APC and PDP. The other person who did that is Samuel Autumn of Benue State. And Osage Izeyamu goes down in history as the first candidate to lose a gubernatorial election within 4 years on 2 different platforms, APC and PDP. Generally, the election has been considered free, fair, and credible, even by international, local, and local observers. There were pockets of violence in a number of local government areas, Isako Central, Ego, Onionwo, but generally, whatever pockets of violence that was reported was nothing compared to what was being speculated. One person was shot in Isako Central, another person was given a cut on the face, and someone died in Onionwo local government. But generally, people have said, yes, INEC will seem to have done a good job. Card readers went bad in, in Isako Central, but INEC claims that they fixed that very quickly. There were reports by some of the observers of overvoting, of ballot snatching, but again, the scale of it was not enough to create any despondency. Chike, let me start with you. What's your assessment of what has just happened in Edo State?
Yeah, indeed, like you said, it's a groundbreaking event that we witnessed today, the 20th day of September, 2020. Unlike what you said, against all odds, I don't think Obaseki won the election against all odds. Maybe because, I have PDP bias, and then don't forget, I'm a Midwesterner, as it were. So to an extent, Edo is my state, and I know what's going on there. The truth is that Edo State is really a PDP state. That is the truth. Adams Oshiomhole came in with a lot of sentiments, a pro-people because of his background in labor and all of that. And what was his clarion cry at that time? It was down with the Godfathers. We have to get rid of the Godfathers. And as far as I'm concerned, he had a good sellable candidate, one that was basically a private sector person who had helped him in, his first term, albeit, off the cuff. And, an excellent economic manager, so to speak. And I think it was right for the people because they realized that Edo State had been very backwards in terms of development. And this is because of the kind of stop and start elections that we're having and governance model, where governors never really finish their term before they are removed by courts and all of that. So there was a lot of uncertainty going on in Edo. But like I said, it was basically a PDP state. So what has happened was that Godwin now got in. And then you know how politics is. The same Godfather, the same person that came to kill the Godfatherism now became a Godfather. Exactly. And of course, the governor resisted it with all his might. People thought he was being hasty. Why don't you wait till you get a second term, then you can show your true colors and all that. But sometimes, you see, and that's what happens when people like us, what I mean people like us, those of us that are not total and pure politicians, because usually you are informed and you believe in something. If what you believe in, you can't execute it, you better leave it. So you tend to want to follow your beliefs. Either you push it through or you don't. And I think that was what Godwin did. And kudos to him. I think his message resonated with the people of Edo State. And they realized that, look, they should be talking about development. And that was what has given birth to what we've just seen. And like you rightly said, Godwin has made all kinds of firsts. First person to win an election in two parties, back to back, like that, and all of that. So the truth, as far as I'm concerned, is that it's a great day for Edo State. And two things I think that we should mention at this juncture going forward, because we know that Nigeria, we still have the gamut of the law to go through and all of that. But I want us to begin to clean our electoral system. Let's use Edo as our hallmark. The first thing I would expect is that the APC should congratulate Godwin. I would expect that. And then the second thing I would also expect, which I'm sure we will get, knowing, the kind of politician Godwin is that Godwin should have no malice to anybody. He should knuckle down, bring everybody in, even those people that have seemingly abandoned him, left him and all that. Yes, maybe they had to choose. You know, people tend to depend on loyalties. Some of the people that left him, I'm aware, were put in there by the other side, and they felt the right thing to do was to leave when the people that put them in. So he shouldn't have that against anybody. He doesn't have to work with them, you know, but going forward, he should have a clear mind, forgive everybody, and then just face and leave a legacy. Because what Godwin has done in Edo State, if you ask me, might be the beginning of a new Nigeria. A new Nigeria that we can start getting rid of all the godfathers, and we can clean the OGEAH stables and get politics ready for people that are development-oriented in their thinking. And then we should go forward by doing a lot of electoral reforms, even with our legislature. Let everything become part-time, because we need to throw up more money for development instead of all the monies we spend on all these elections.
The point you made about the people who left Godwin Obaseki, 42 of them in total.
Yes.
From his chief of staff to other appointees.
Yes.
But I hope you are not suggesting that he should bring them back.
No, even if he doesn't bring them back, you know, Ruben, but
he should not be malicious.
He should not be and victimize them.
Well, Prof, what's your own take? Does this mark the end of Godfatherism in Nigerian politics, or the beginning of the end of Godfatherism? Because what we have seen is that Godwin Obaseki has been able, in a very convincing manner, to slay the dragon of Godfatherism.
If we take the example of Oshiomhole as a case study, there is no way I wouldn't tell you that the future of Godfatherism is at best uncertain, because people behave differently on the basis of different environmental conditionings. It was Oshiomhole who said he would like to put a period, a full stop to Godfatherism. What changed him? How did his blood suddenly change? That's to let you know that the environment determines. So if you now ask me, will there be an end to it? Can we hope for better days to come? I will say it's at best unknown. Second point, we have God's will. We have people's will. Then the people of God cannot but have the will of God in their protection. I've never heard or read or seen where God has not always won. Obaseki is simply living according to his name. God win. Now, he has to win. One reason I think the APC is most likely to always lose election under normal circumstances is simply because of what I witnessed yesterday in Ondo town at Akure garage. There was these political campaigns by Akeredolu. We have the Agbolas, they were there. They kept people waiting. I was in the traffic for more than 3 hours. Because you are campaigning, that does not mean your own joy, your own campaign should be detrimental to my own interest. I was in a hurry, and we all queued there. They just blocked the road. What prevented them? At least you want the votes of the people. And at the same time, you are punishing the same people from whom you are seeking support. No, it doesn't work well. When I look at it yesterday, and I said, these are the people who are campaigning to us. Under normal circumstances, any reasonable Nigeria wouldn't have voted for any APC on the basis of what we witnessed yesterday. Now the third point.
Let's stay with Edo.
No, it's the same thing. Because lessons from Edo, for instance, Ondo election is coming in October. That should be October 10. Now, what we have seen in Edo cannot but be a replica in Ondo State. You are talking about election. I do not look at it as an election. I look at it as like a football match. Okay? This is a match between federal might and power of incumbency. Everybody expected that, yes, the federal government will come very forcefully, heavily. But the people resisted. Please, this time when they say you don't want violence, you don't want this, Obaseki stood the ground. They were always complaining and quickly drawing the attention of the general public when they now discover that, look, something is going on. For instance, today, Orion won the result. They had the result. But the INEC officials said they were going on break for 2 hours. And in this case, the PDP agent now came out to say, no, but you have the result. Announce this, then you can go on break. But this time, because they were now crying, etc., I think that the PDP leader now raised alarm. By the time they were telling the whole public, the INEC officials came back to announce. So this is a lesson. If they do not want, if APC wants to provide leadership by example, why not? In this particular case, you don't try to use force on people from whom you want support. And that's the point I'm making.
Orion local government area is the local government area of Osage-Izeyamo. But even in that local government, Godwin Obaseki still won with about 3,000 votes. 13,445 to 10,458. So that's the
that was the greatest surprise of that
But
election.
in any case, talking about godfathers, CHIKE, let me come back to you. One major refrain in Edo State yesterday and today, and also on social media, is that Edo no be Lagos, Obaseki no be Ambode. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, because you see, let me speak to the general concept of Godfatherism. Let's not deceive ourselves, Ruben. You've been there and I've been there. There is no state in Nigeria, or there is no aspect of our politics that you don't have a godfather. Because there's always someone who started it all. So what you then tend to find are that, let's use the word, maybe a mentor, you know, a boss. These people are there. They were there before somebody, just the way Oshiomhole was there before Godwin. Somebody was there before Oshiomhole. But the truth is that even as a godfather, in quote, you don't have to be disruptive. You don't have to sit or put your knee on the neck of your godson. You see, that is what we complain about. It's when it gets to such situations when, you know, the godson is being shackled. That is when it becomes a problem. Otherwise, there are godfathers everywhere. They sit quietly. Things get done. People even go to them for advice. But don't start to control the people who you have helped to get into office, whereby before they go to the bathroom, they have to come to you, or as they say, you know, in certain states, you pay all the monies of the state into the coffers of the account of the godfather. The godfather uses his companies to collect all the taxes and all that. You see, that is when that concept becomes repulsive to the people. And you see, it's that concept of godfatherism that we have to kill in Nigeria. That is the truth. I'm very happy for the people of Edo, like you rightly said, that they have been able to come and put their foot down and say, yes, they can. You know, that slogan resonated with them very seriously. And the truth is that for the pedigree of Bola Tinubu's caliber, because I know he's been in the game for a long time, I wonder why he did that video that he did, where he was not directly telling the people of Edo who to vote for and who not to vote for. I assure you, that was the clincher. The people took exception to that.
Is there any connection between what has happened
the people
and
took
the
exception
politics
to
of
that.
2023?
You can't tell them who to vote for. You shouldn't. You don't have that right.
Yes, I think there is a link. And I would like to begin with his last submission that, look, why APC failed in Edo State is majorly because of the statement made by Bola Tinubu. The Edo people are very proud people. They are proud of themselves, and they do not want to be dictated to. So in this case, when Edo State no be Lagos, Ambode no be Obaseki.
Obaseki no be Ambode.
It's the same thing. Ambode no be Obaseki. Obaseki no be Ambode.
So this time, they are simply telling the people of Nigeria that, look, please, this is Edo State, and we want to determine our own future, our own leader by ourselves. Now, in terms of the linkage to 2023, the issue now is that at the level of APC Oshiomhole, his relevance is increasingly going into disrepute. The same thing for Bola Tinubu. We need to re-strategize if he really wants to take his 2023 agenda seriously. Because the way he has been rejected now means that already the foundation for 2023 is not good enough.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll take a short break here on Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. It's still Arise News channel. Welcome back to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Still with me in the studio, I have Professor Bola AKINTERINWA, Director General, Bolytag Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and CHIKE OGEAH, former Commissioner for Information, Delta State. Let's take another subject. Let's go to the United States, where Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the firebrand who in her 80s became a legal, cultural, and feminist icon, died on Friday. The Supreme Court announced her death, saying the cause was complications from metastatic cancer of the pancreas. The court in a statement said Ginsburg died at her home in Washington, D.C., surrounded by family. She was 87. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the second woman to serve on the Supreme Court and a pioneering advocate for women's rights who in her 9th decade became a much younger generation's unlikely cultural icon. Barely 5 feet tall and weighing 100 pounds, Justice Ginsburg drew comments for years on her fragile appearance. Ginsburg became a feminist hero and a social media icon, becoming fondly known as the notorious RBG, a riff on the rapper, the notorious B.I.G. When Justice Sandra Day O'Connor retired in January 2006, Justice Ginsburg was for a time the only woman on the Supreme Court. Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States, called Ginsburg an amazing woman and did not mention filling a vacant seat when he spoke briefly to reporters on Friday night. Well, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it looks like the end of an era, but she was perhaps one of the most impactful, one of the most formidable associates that ever sat on the Supreme Court of the United States. Yes, second woman to become Supreme Court Justice after Sandra O'Connor. She took the position in 2003 when she was nominated by President in 1993, when she was nominated by President
Clinton.
President Bill Clinton. Yeah. It wasn't until 2009 that we had another woman on the U.S. Supreme Court bench, and that's Sonia Sotomayor. But she was noted for her preponderance, her dissent in many of the major issues of the day. She was eventually the leader of the liberal wing, and she took quite a number of hard positions, particularly with regard to women's rights, with regard to abortion, with regard to discrimination, gender discrimination. And she gave quite a number of majority opinions that have become landmark opinions in the United States, including a majority opinion in the Ledbetter case, which led to the Ledbetter Act in 2008. And also, of course, the Virginia case, United States versus Virginia, which was against the military establishment in the state of Virginia, which discriminated against the recruitment of women. Yeah. Let me start with you, Prof. This is an international subject. The significance of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I think you've said it all, in the sense that she's been very unique, very hard, on very critical issues. But my question is, if, for instance, she has been taking very cautious and difficult positions on questions of discrimination, women, all along, is it because she's a woman that she's been acting as such? Why I ask the question is that Donald Trump has made it clear that, okay, he will soon get a replacement, and he's only going to consider a woman. Now, you need to get a woman for the position to succeed. Fine. If, for instance, the appointment is a question of considering the area, the district, the geopolitical dimension, I can easily go ahead and say, okay, you need a woman there. But I think it is simply because of the personality, the integrity of the Ginsburg herself. Not necessarily because she's a woman. It's her philosophy of life that matters. So when we place emphasis on saying where is the second woman, is second this, etc., even if there have been 10 of them, how will that one affect their philosophy of life and their approach? A second point there is this. The woman who is likely to succeed her in the Supreme Court, is he going to have the same philosophy of life?
I doubt that.
So that one is quite arguable. And in this particular case, I think that according to Donald Trump, he is already targeting his successor from the Republican Party. Okay. He has asked the Republican senators to think, to reflect on the likely successor. I think already you have law of politics, but now we are talking about politics of law.
Well, the thing about the U.S. Supreme Court is about ideology. Now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg became leader of the liberal wing. Now, if you have a conservative succeeding her, even if that conservative is a woman, it's likely to change the ideological orientation of that bench for decades, for generations to come, perhaps. And that was why our last wish, which she dictated to our granddaughter, is that, look, our position should not be filled until another president is elected. Of course, she was anti-Trump, and she's hoping that if the Democrats win, then a liberal will replace her. But of course, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is already saying if President Trump nominates somebody before the election, the Senate would approve immediately. Yeah. And at campaigns over the weekend, supporters of Donald Trump have been saying, fill the seat, fill the seat. That's the new slogan.
Don't you know why?
Yes. well, you tell us why.
Well, it's simple. You see, you have to place the U.S. Supreme Court, against the politics of the United States of America. It is not brazenly involved, or it does not wait to have a final say like it happens in our climb, where the Supreme Court now just decides, and then whether you like it or not, that's the final court and all of that. The kind of judicial activism that goes on in American politics, like you rightly said, is such that it is usually, because they throw up, America is all about ideology, not like here where it's 6 and half a dozen. So they throw up big issues, And the way the Supreme Court decides those issues obviously has a great impact on society. And that, like you said, is why the bench she represents has nothing to do with a woman, like you said. It is her thinking. She belongs to that liberal kind of, And if indeed, whether it's a man or a woman, the Republicans replace that seat with a Republican, of course, that would change the complexion of the Supreme Court. But for me, the greater thing about notorious RBG, as she's called, is that here was a woman that was barely 5 feet 1 inch tall, so she was like a pocket of dynamite, the daughter of Russian immigrants. You see, the great thing about America again, everybody comes in there and become,
The first Jewish woman to sit on the bench.
On the bench.
Since 1969.
That's right. And everything she has achieved. She even has, I was reading about her because I'm sufficiently intrigued about her. And she has this, I think, aerobics class or something that she does that a lot of youths, she has multitude of following in the social media and all of that, So you could see a well-rounded woman, a woman who was well ahead of herself and her time. It's not just about the law, or it was not just about politics for her.
She was a professor, though,
at
Rutgers and at Columbia.
That's right.
Where she taught civil procedure.
And, she went to an Ivy League university herself.
Columbia.
She went to Columbia.
Harvard.
Okay. So you see, she was just an all-rounder May her soul rest in peace. America indeed has lost a giant of a small woman, so to speak.
Well,
yes.
We hope that we would also construct our Supreme Court bench along ideological lines.
Amen.
Rather than what appears to be ethnic and religious lines.
I say amen to that.
Those are lessons that we can learn, from the
May God hear your prayers.
Amen. Amen.
Well, we'll take another short break here on Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Still with me in the studio, I have Professor Bola AKINTERINWA, Director General, Bolytag Center for International Studies and Strategic Studies, International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and of course, CHIKE, former Commissioner of Information, Delta State. But at this moment, we are now being joined by ODIA, veteran journalist, poet, writer, author, publisher, former chairman of the editorial board of the news magazine, and former private secretary to late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, to talk some more about developments in Edo State and the results of the gubernatorial election in that state. Incidentally, OFEIMUN is from Edo State. Online, thank you for joining us on Thisdaylive. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Well, very quickly, what's your perspective on the outcome of the gubernatorial election in Edo State, your state, where Governor Godwin Obaseki, the incumbent, has been declared winner, second time in 4 years, and is a challenger of the All Progressives Congress, his former party, Osagie Izeyamu, only managed to lead in just 4 local governments out of 18. Hello?
I think
Did you get that question? Are you with me?
Take it again.
Okay, I just wanted your take on the latest development in Edo State with Godwin Obaseki, the incumbent governor, being declared winner a second time in 4 years. Hello?
It was a relief for very many people who saw the election as a straight-out struggle between the people of Edo State and the APC as a political party. Normally, an election is not supposed to be between a people and a party. It should be between 2 political parties in the state. It was turned into a people versus party struggle by the manner in which Obaseki had been knocked out of being a candidate for the APC. I think that what has happened can be regarded as a case of a people assaulted or insulted responding by ensuring that not only their voices but their wills will be registered. It is not as if anyone knew what the results would be, but the results that have emerged appear to be quite in sync with the necessity to defend democracy, whether in the party or in the state. I am sure that anybody who has followed all the events will be a bit shocked by the calm resolve that has taken place. All those who expected that there will be a blowout of certain proportion are surprised as they must have been when the last but one federal election turned out a very safe haven for believers in democracy. I hear that the opponent to the governor has acknowledged the victory, and I think it is only fair that Edo be given that safe haven in democracy, in democratic development.
Well, are there lessons that other political actors across Nigeria can learn from this development, this outcome in Edo State? And what, in your view, should those lessons be?
First of all, let's put it this way. The victor owes the state a responsibility to bring things back to a normal terrain. I mean, this is no time for big chest beating as a winner. He needs to take the whole state in hand and ensure that
That's what I said.
the nature of politics is changed. The nature of politics is changed so that it is no longer the do or die that was going to take off, but a new way of doing politics which defends popular welfare, people's interest, rather than simply hit up the political environment as it was going to happen. What the governor does need to do is to change the nature of the political fractions that existed. This is what I mean. A governor who is determined to develop the state economically must have a politics that matches the economics. If you become the governor of a state, you are required, in my view, especially for another developed society like our own, to answer one question, which is, ours is a consuming society. Of the things we consume in this society, how much of them can we produce for ourselves in 4 years' time? It is a question every governor in Nigeria must ask, especially now that the pandemic has taught all of us that you could be cut off from the rest of the world overnight. It is important that we learn to produce for ourselves the things we'll consume. The governor of Edo State, we cannot properly call him that, the governor of Edo State was already working along those lines, ensuring that creativity and productivity becomes the watchword of his administration. He had not quite established the ethic to the point of nobody can stop it, but he had started actually as if the people of Edo State are thanking him for what he started and are insisting that he must continue along such lines. Those lines are clearly written in some of the things he said in the course of the campaign. But he needs to go beyond that. We are no longer just waiting for politicians to beat their chest at how they dominate and hegemonize over others. We want them to turn all Edo people, that is, all the politicians, the governor should turn all Edo people into siblings with whom they must ensure that agriculture becomes part of an industrial project, and I'm saying that advisedly. And if we cannot industrialize at a digital level, at whatever level we can, industrialization needs to begin. We don't have to be able to compete with China all at once, but we must be able to do those things that are available. Edo State has the highest number per head of engineers and people who've been educated to industrialize any society, at least in Africa. If that is borne in mind, then it means the job that needs to be done, whether in education, in city building, and in transportation, these are things we need to retake and reconsider. Many of those in the Middle East that are building scraper cities like Dubai, they were not as educated as Edo people are when they started their uptick in so many directions. We do need to have a governor who does not only have to look at the whole shenanigan about party politics, but must look at what we've all been trying to do. Build an industrial society that does not retreat.
Claire, sorry to interrupt you at this point, but I wanted to ask you, some people are of the view that Obaseki's triumph will mark the end of Godfatherism in Edo politics and send a signal to other states in Nigeria, or perhaps it will be at best the beginning or the end. Briefly, we have just 2 minutes to wrap this up.
The victory in an election of this nature does not necessarily imply the retreat of Godfatherism. It merely opens the door to the end of Godfatherism. Because if you have a politics in which ego drives policy making, then we may have ended Godfatherism at the polling booths. But by the ideal of society and governance, we will have all the aspects that prepare the ground for Godfatherism to take over. He must be the one to sign the lines that prevent Godfatherism from re-emerging.
Well, thank you very much, ODIA OFEIMUN, for joining us on Thisdaylive, this Sunday talk show here on Arise News today. And thank you very much, Professor AKINTERINWA and CHIKE OGEAH, for your perspectives. Thank you very much. You've all been watching Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati. For my entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching. See you next Sunday.